So, what makes me cranky about Rampage? I put my faith in The Rock and he let me down on this one. As you can imagine, when this movie was announced, I greeted it with skepticism, but as I tweeted out at the time, I thought if anyone could figure out the magic formula to summon up a genuinely good video game movie, it was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. After all, the man has since made a Jumanji sequel that was both really fun to watch and about being inside a video game. Anyway, to my surprise, The Rock responded, thanking me and assuring me that they were, quote, grinding with script and VFX to crack that magic. Well, they needed to keep grinding on both counts. To start with, I thought this was supposed to be a Rampage movie, not an early half-budget version of King Kong vs. Godzilla. I mean, there isn't exactly much in the way of story to Rampage the video game, but what makes Rampage unique is the monsters are the protagonists. The whole point is to level every building in America because some haphazard science experiment turned you into a giant animal. Sure, you can fight other players, and there are tons of humans trying to stop you, but the goal is to smash everything into the ground before you die. In this, the monsters are the bad guys again, like in every other monster movie, except for The Rock's ape friend George. So this is more the story of The Rock trying to save George, and then the two of them trying to prevent downtown Chicago from being blown up. It's pretty much exactly backwards of what it should be. It reminds me a lot of how the Hitman movies always fail to reflect the game, since Hitman games are about killing your target without ever being noticed. Trying to fistfight guards and getting into shootouts is the surest way to fail a mission, and yet every single one of those movies has to do it. But I get it, even if it would be super novel to put us on the side of wrecking everything on purpose, I understand you don't want to cast The Rock and not have him save the day, so we gotta roll with some changes. It's fine. And for the first 20 minutes, I thought they might just have cracked it. The setup is interesting enough to get you invested. The interplay between The Rock and George is genuinely funny. It's got a nice slow burn in terms of introducing the monsters and ramping up their destructive ability. They even do a little bit of a fake out when it comes to which characters will actually stick around for the rest of the movie. And it doesn't pull any punches as to how lethal this kind of thing would be to a squishy human. There was a little bit of dodgy CGI here and there, but otherwise, everything was looking pretty good. Then the stupid shit began. The rest of this movie is a virtual parade of asinine, overused, ridiculous tropes that are so played out it's even painful when they're used ironically now. The comically evil CEO and her unbelievably incompetent brother whose plan is equal parts insane and self-defeating. The hard-headed moron military commander who won't listen to experts or reason. The sympathetic character with a tragic backstory who has betrayed everyone's trust by lying about it. People surviving things without so much as a wince when it should have killed them outright. Characters somehow teleporting to precisely where they need to be for that scene. Obscenely obvious green screen everywhere. And of course, the kind of dialogue that turns you into the old lady from the Geico commercials complaining, "That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works." There's even some product placement in this that's so prominent it looks like one of those commercials where a company digitally inserts their logo or a product or something into the clips of the movie. I could forgive all of that though, if the movie just delivered on the titular Rampage, but it really doesn't. Believe it or not, these supposedly destructive beasts seemingly cause less destruction than Superman did in Man of Steel. They've got the military coming in like these creatures are going to raze a city to the ground, and I think they ultimately destroy all of one building. A game about punching the entire United States into rubble has been turned into a movie about knocking over a single skyscraper in Chicago. Now look, we all know from watching things like Man of Steel that you can't just break stuff for an hour and a half straight or people get bored. But if there's ever a movie to go all out on this city-destroying stuff, it's the one called Rampage. Especially because when they do get into the destruction, it's usually pretty creative and filled with nods to things that you can do in the games. Frankly, I was shocked at how infrequently we got to see the monsters do stuff. It's not like they're trying to play Jaws and build tension, they just flat out skip over most of it, because they're busy with the stupid cliché nonsense. I assume it's because they just didn't have the budget to do the CGI convincingly for the entire runtime, since there are times it barely passes muster as it is. And I swear, the only reason Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Naomi Harris are even in the movie is so that The Rock has someone to talk to other than a tennis ball. Neither of their characters really have anything to do here, and every minute they're on the screen, they're stealing time from George, Lizzie, and Ralph. Lizzie's part dinosaur, so of course he doesn't even get named, by the way, but I'm fine with that because it's a pretty lame rendering of the character anyway. It's such a strange experience because the parts of Rampage that are good are really good, but everything else ranges from merely boring to totally cringeworthy. It's like they had to hurry up and film a bunch of stuff using whatever Hollywood hack writer they had on hand that day, and then they came back afterwards to shoot the beginning and fill in the gaps with someone really smart who wanted to subvert or otherwise sidestep the stupid things these movies usually do. If it weren't for some genuinely laugh-out-loud moments, I suspect I would outright hate this movie. I mean, it's not Super Mario Bros. Level bad, and The Rock's charisma is in full gear, but man, what a bunch of stupid stuff and wasted opportunities. So, if you want some big dumb fun this weekend, at least save some money by going to a matinee, but otherwise, you can wait for this one to come out on TV. That's what I thought about Rampage anyway. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Punch that like button if you enjoyed the video. And growing this channel to monstrous size won't require some magical DNA-altering virus, just people like you deciding to subscribe to the channel for more reviews.